All right.
All right. Episode 101, scene 14, take number 3.
And action.
Where did that fucking thing go?
Don't worry, you'll find it. You'll find it. Nice shot.
Cut.
I'm a mystery.
Yeah.
Well, I play Mardigan. I play the Slayer of the bunch. His strength is literal. He's the muscle of the group.
Oh yeah.
I like to think of him more as a barbarian, really. Sort of transplanted into modern day. Just doesn't really dig the whole rules and regulations thing. Doesn't really dig civilization that much. Likes people in civilization.
Yeah.
More prefers motorcycles, hot rods, and heavy metal, so...
Yeah. All the things worth living for.
All the things worth living
Yeah.
for, exactly. Yeah. It's what's best in life, right?
That's it.
I actually got involved because one of my childhood buddies from high school, Danny Phelan, posted something up on Facebook and was like, "Hey, these friends of mine are looking for somebody who can ride motorcycles and likes to break things. I like to ride motorcycles and break things. This seems interesting." And so, director and I met up in a Starbucks one snowy and cold winter in Kansas City. Yeah, and we ended up having like a 3-hour conversation,
Yeah.
which was great. So we kicked it off pretty much immediately,
Oh yeah.
and there was much caffeine to be had and much goofing off to be had, which were both great things. And so, at the end of that, he said, well, didn't want to offer me the part or anything, but he said, hey, if you're interested, I think you'd fit it pretty perfectly. Sure, I'm totally interested. I don't mind a bit of commute. It's fun, and it's something I've never done before.
Nice.
Which I still can't believe to this day he let me do. But, cheers. But then, so that was that, really. I mean, what else do you need?
That's it. Yeah. What's been your favorite part so far? Or have you had a favorite part? Maybe it hasn't come up yet.
I've just really enjoyed the whole process. I enjoy learning new things, and I'm good at a lot of different things, but not, fantastically earth-shattering, right? But I enjoy learning new skills, new talents, new hobbies all the time. And so it was really, one of my favorite parts, I think, was getting into an arena that I had really not been exposed to directly, even though peripherally through music, playing instruments, jamming with people, kind of has a stage mentality to it. But also on top of that, the work I did just with groups of people in the bars and in science, I had a lot more of a social kind of acting in real time per se, which doesn't necessarily at all carry over, but it's fun because it's sort of the idea of A, trying something new, and B, also getting to learn about a world that I've always loved and always been interested in, by being in it rather than by watching it, right?
Nice. Yeah.
So you can watch all the documentaries you want. Why do that when you could be part of a story that sounds great, which is what first got me interested in it, and the director's approach, obviously, because I think with a full schedule, you have to really ask yourself, am I going to enjoy working with these people, right?
Yeah, exactly,
But
exactly.
it was a blast, and that was one of the favorite things right away.
Nice.
But it just in the whole process, I think probably one of my favorite things has been being on the other side of the camera and getting to look at how shots are set up, getting to look at all this kind of the ingredients that go into making a production, and also just hanging around some really cool people,
Nice.
doing things that I haven't done before. So it's, yeah, from that perspective, it's been a blast. Honestly, I would say that one of the great things about just crowdfunding in general is that you get to decide where you put your money, right? I mean, nobody's telling you to do anything, and it's a voluntary, donation based on what you like. Do you like the vibe of this? For somebody looking at this, I would say, honestly, the arts don't get near enough help. I mean, whether it's music or theater or film, nobody gets any help at all outside of mainstream Hollywood. With a small handful of indie directors, that have either, sole sourced their funding through, their businesses or whatever. Nobody really gets any help with that. And it's a shame, because one of the most important things that I think for anybody is the idea of storytelling. And so to be able to be part of that, even just peripherally, and to be able to help people tell stories is one of the fundamental functions of human society for as long as we've been around. Like 5,000 years ago, sitting in a cave, right? Or sitting around a fire with a tribe, stories, always stories. And it's some form of art. It's some form of, whether it's cave drawings or whether it's, oral tradition stories or whether it's anything else. The idea of oral story tradition and visual arts is great. And it started just as a community thing. It didn't start as a big budget thing. And it's, I love Hollywood. I love watching movies. I love giant rock concerts filled with arenas, of laser beams and light shows and all that. But storytelling is fundamentally human. And it matters that we can tell stories and have a little bit of flexibility in being able to tell a good story as a grassroots production company, as a grassroots director, or somebody just in the community who has a mission, has an idea, a passion, and doesn't have Hollywood muscle. And so that's honestly, that's what I'd say. You're the fundamental aspect of human community is storytelling, and it's very hard to do that because none of the funding seems to go that way in whether it's schools or anything else very much these days. And I'd say that's the big thing. I mean, you're helping people tell their stories and add a little bit of creativity to everybody's life. And that's how I think of it. Now we're at a point where so many more people can be creative, just on a basic level with YouTube and web cameras and GarageBand software and stuff like that. But even then, if you want to make a story, a good story, and make a series compelling, you're going to need more than a webcam. You're going to need more than GarageBand. You're going to need more than that, and that costs money. And it's not anywhere close to being. It's not about how much money can we pool together, but man, that stuff is expensive.
Yeah, there's always
when you're looking at you're looking at enormous costs just for some of the hardware, just for a small rig, and so it's one of the things that I think is probably the biggest impact is helping people to be able to even purchase raw materials to make their own camera rigs, put a camera but make their own mounts or make their own booms or anything else like that to save money, but it's still you have to have a little bit of seed money there.
You can blow a lot or you can blow a little, but you still need
some.
That you can blow on.
Exactly, and that's probably the big thing. And it always helps to lessen the load on people who we all work, and we
Oh,
do this
yeah.
because we're passionate about it, and we want to tell a story. But with people who work, money's a consideration, time is a consideration.
Okay, so you mentioned that you haven't acted before.
Right.
So how have you been? How have you found the interactions with the rest of the cast?
Actually, fantastic. I mean, I think it's one thing learning something new, picking something up, and it's another thing to be doing it around people who you don't know and you may or may not get along with, right? But I've loved the interactions with all the cast. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm a fairly easygoing person to get along with, really. But the key point is that